So I did a couple of videos. I did a lot of videos where I talk about the GOAT debate. I think it's interesting. And I had a friend that told me I'm always he said I'm always using sound bites from people who think Kobe or Michael Jordan is the GOAT. What about the sound bites of people who think LeBron is the GOAT? So I'm gonna do that. David West was on a podcast last year or 2 years ago, and he's giving his example of why he think LeBron is the GOAT. I'm gonna play that for you. But before I play it, hit that like button. Make sure you got the like button hit. And here's a word from the sponsor. Underdog Fantasy is the best place to play fantasy sports. I want to tell you about the easiest way to get in on some NBA action with Underdog Fantasy and their pick'em game. Just find your favorite player, or any player for that matter, pick higher or lower on that player's stats, and you can win up to 20 times your money in one night. Pick between 2 or 5 players to fill your pick'em entry. Get every pick right, and you can net yourself some serious cash. Use the promo code ManDownSports, and you can get your deposit doubled up to $100. You got to check on the map to make sure your state is eligible to play Underdog Fantasy. But as soon as you do, and if your state is, go ahead and download Underdog Fantasy's app. Use the promo code ManDownSports, and you can, like I said, you can get that $100 match on your first deposit. And I would want to thank Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring Man Down Sports. All right, here's David West.
Greatest player all time.
The greatest player.
Greatest player all time. I know this is hard for you too.
It's not hard. No. I would say. I
won't lie. I'm going with LeBron.
I would say LeBron too. And like I said, only because I just think that
when he's done, he'll get his respect.
Yeah, I think he's just been too dominant for too long, and he's so physically imposing. We've never seen a guy who's been so physically imposing. That's not a big man.
Yeah.
LeBron is he's too big, strong, and fast for any era. Mm-hmm. And I think that when you talk about the era of basketball that we were in, and I've got tons of respect for, the old school 80s, 90s. But I think with what sports medicine has done and sports science has done to
evolution and all these things, it's
changed the game. So for I just think people are being dishonest, and I'm gonna say this on your platform so people will finally understand. Like, it's not that hard to understand the difference in eras, right?
Mm.
So at my heaviest, when I was in Indiana, I was 273.
Okay.
Right. Okay. 273 pounds. Yeah. Roy was 295 pounds.
This is Roy Hibbert.
Roy Hibbert.
Okay.
Roy was anywhere from 295, 285 on a light day, 295 on a heavy day, right?
Yeah.
We had Danny Granger, who played the 3, and he was 245 pounds at the 3. Paul George was 220 at the 2. And whether it was Lance or if we had Lance at the 1, Lance is 230 pounds as the point guard. George Hill, 195, right? For as great as the Pistons were in the 90s, I'm not taking the Pistons with Isaiah and Lambeer. Those guys were great. Yeah, Lambeer was only 245 pounds.
Nah, that's fast.
You understand? Like, Rick Mahone was 250.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
On the Knicks with Anthony Mason and Oakley, those guys were super tough. Xavier McDaniel, Mace was 245. Patrick was 235. Right? So physically, there was a time in the NBA where, like, Memphis, for instance, when Memphis had Zebo and Gasol, you're talking about 275 at the power forward and center. You're talking about you're talking about just bigger, stronger people. So it's not a matter of who's doing what. It's if you're playing shooting guard at 213 pounds, how can you deal with a 270 pound wing?
Thank you said that.
That's all.
You said that. And then plus, I'll be trying to tell people, I'm like, you gotta understand, a shooting guard in today's game is like, the way the league's going, it's like 6'7", 6'8". You didn't have 7-footers bringing the ball down. I mean, besides like Magic or whatever, you don't have no KD or Giannis could bring the ball down court.
It would be, but we just
you saw the Nuggets lineup.
Yeah,
That one-
with
That's where the
ball
game's going towards.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
But I just think that, you know, we've got to just be honest. Like, sports science and sports medicine has changed the way that players literally, the physical nature of players. And so the reason why the NBA had to change the rules was because it was too easy. I said this a few weeks ago. It was too easy for guys like me to just put my hand out on somebody on the perimeter, and you couldn't get by me. If I could use one hand and keep my hand on your hip, that's why, you know, it wasn't an issue of a matchup issue. You didn't have switching problems. It was once the NBA said no hands out front. So now that opened up and you've got freedom of movement.
Yeah.
So even when I've heard guys say, well, with LeBron back in the day with hand checking, he would have shot 100 free throws. He would have shot just as many free throws as Michael, if not more, because how do you stop somebody who naturally is 250 pounds? Like LeBron naturally is a 250-pound dude, right? He's had to come down to 250. Most of his career he's played, you know, 255, 260 plus. You know, and just in raw player ability, I go with LeBron. I got nothing, you know, Michael's the greatest, you know, just the greatest, you know, basketball showman, you know, that we've had. He's the greatest innovator. He's the greatest icon that we've had for the game. And he revolutionized the game when he played it. But I just can't get beyond the science behind, you know, what I'm looking at. And knowing
Science
that, like, okay, I know how great you guys were, but Dennis Rodman was 210 pounds, man, playing power forward. I don't think like there was like 210 pounds. I don't know how you guard Zach Randolph. I don't know how you deal with Blake Griffin at 210 pounds. And I get it. You know, great athlete, whatever. But how do you guard that? How do you stop that? How do you know, physically? So that would be my only thing. And I think sometimes we get that confused.
He said, all right, so many things he said. But in a nutshell, he's saying, I'm going to pick LeBron as the greatest of all time because of his size, his speed, and his strength, I guess. He's saying you just way more and he fast. Like, how do you stop that? Well, sir, LeBron was 250 in that Dallas Mavs series when JJ Barea was stopping him from getting to the hole. And they was putting J Kidd on him with no double teams. I seen Kawhi at 225, 230. Kawhi's not that big, 225, 230. I seen him guard LeBron James with no double teams. Only thing you're gonna have to do is back off of him and let him shoot the jump shot until he developed the jump shot 4 or 5 years ago. Well, not even the jump shot. He developed a 3-point shot that you got to respect a little bit. But as far as you getting to the hole, we're not gonna let you get down here, big dog. Especially in the era where defense of 3 seconds didn't exist. I can just stand down here. You're not coming down here. That was the game plan for Dallas. We got a 7-foot in the back in Tyson Chandler who weighed 220. Until he got his weight up, he probably got to about 230. Skinny Tyson Chandler, 7 foot, down low. Jason Kidd at 6'4", 215 pounds, guarding LeBron one-on-one. And if you got a screen, we'll go under the screen. You either go have to shoot that jump shot. We're going under the screen, and we might switch. And that switch, and there was times where Jason Terry was on LeBron, JJ Barea was on LeBron, Sean Marion was on LeBron at 220, 215, and they did just fine. Michael Jordan would have been fine guarding LeBron James, and everybody else who was Michael Jordan size, Sprewell, whoever else. The only time LeBron is a problem was he's running full speed, and now it's hard for you to stop him to get to the hole. But if you just build that wall, he can't even do it. You gotta dish it out or pull that jump shot. And then if I got a 7-footer down there waiting on you, we're gonna make it a little harder. So it's not about strength, size, and speed. It's about how good you are at basketball. How good is your jump shot? How good is your footwork in the post? How good is your off-ball game? Can you play without the ball? How good can you shoot free throws? Because you said Oh man, with hand checking, LeBron would go to the line just as much as Jordan. When Michael Jordan was hitting at the 85 to 88% clip, that's a marksman. That's a sharpshooter. LeBron is shooting it between 69 and at his best 73%. So if we putting LeBron to the line, that's even great. That's like putting Shaq to the line. But except Shaq played in the post and had post moves, and he was 7 foot. So him in the post, he can go down there and get some buckets. But if we're backing off LeBron playing on the wing, we're backing off of him 5 to 6 feet, and you can't get in his paint. For your first 10 years in the league, you're not scoring that much. Well, you probably would. You would still score a lot, but you got to develop that jump shot very quick, which he didn't do, and he still can't shoot free throws. So that shows more signs that his shot mechanics is not up to par. So I'm trying to figure out how that size is. If I've seen Paul George, who's a great defender, he's never been more than 220. I seen him as a young buck in Indiana on your team, David West, guard LeBron James. I seen Lance Stevenson guard LeBron James. It's not hard. It's not hard. And we've had locomotives like that. We had Anthony Mason that was hard to deal with, coming down, dribbling, trying to get to the hole. He couldn't jump as high as LeBron, but he's 230. And I've seen Anthony Mason try to guard Jordan. I seen Michael Jordan take Anthony Mason in the post and give him work. He didn't have to get him on the perimeter. Michael Jordan will take anybody in the post, because how you gonna stop the fadeaway? How you gonna stop the up and under? How you gonna stop somebody with better footwork than I got better footwork with the ball than you got defending me? Advantage me. So I'm sorry about that free throw comment, because no, he can't shoot those. So I'm good with putting him on the line. I'm cool with him being 270 or 250, because guess what I'm gonna do? We just not gonna guard you out there like we do Giannis. It happens every year that Giannis get in the playoffs against Miami or a team like Boston. We go build a wall. You're not getting down here, big dog. And the only way Giannis is successful in the playoffs is if the referees decide when he's driving to the hole and throwing those elbows and traveling, we're not going to call it. Because if they really wanted to officiate properly on Giannis, he would foul out before the fourth quarter every game trying to get to the hole. Or they would call multiple travels on him, and then he'd have to figure out something else to do. But they're letting him get away with travels consistently and offensive fouls consistently. If he's not elbowing you while he's getting to the hole, if you get there and beat him to the spot, he's charging people, and that's still putting him on the free throw line and calling it a defensive foul. So no, you have to play basketball. You just can't have the size. People are shocked that LeBron has such an advantage physically, and he still couldn't be the best player we ever seen. Like, when you make a person in the lab, someone that big, moving that fast, coordinated the way he is, and can pass the way he can, all the stuff, he was supposed to be the best player in the world that we've ever seen. But the issue is he didn't perfect the craft the way Kobe and Mike did. He don't have the technique down the way they do. Like, if you look at a boxer like Floyd Mayweather is the sweet science. Floyd Mayweather has it down packed technically with those hands and his defense. Best technical boxer we've ever seen, which makes him in the conversation as the best boxer we've ever seen. It's hard to put Ali down, but what Floyd, I mean, come on, man, you can't even hit this dude. So technically sound, we've never seen nobody with Michael Jordan's gifts physically also get in there and say, I'm also gonna be the most technically sound player you've ever seen. Like, Tim Duncan didn't have Garnett's athleticism, so he went in and he worked really hard on those fundamentals. Became one of the best post-up players in the world. Can you imagine if now Garnett wasn't no slouch either in the post, but can you imagine if Garnett with his athleticism also had Tim Duncan's technically sound post play? He would have daggone there been unstoppable, right? So imagine Michael Jordan is the Garnett of the wing players. He has a lot of athleticism, a really good body, for 6'6", 195, 205, whatever he was. He was made wonderful as well. And most dudes that are made like that don't work as hard as Mike and Kobe. Vince Carter was made wonderfully. He could have been a GOAT, but he didn't perfect his craft like Mike did. So my whole point is this: Michael Jordan have all those gifts physically. 48-inch vertical, jump out the gym, never gets tired, no body fat, 6'6", all this crazy stuff, fast, huge hands, bigger than Kawhi's. Like, he had all that. You would not expect somebody with all that to get in there and become the most technically sound guard we've ever seen at the shooting guard position. Right? And that's what LeBron was. LeBron was made physically even better than Jordan. And he didn't capitalize on it by going in and being as technically sound as Jordan. Kobe did. LeBron didn't. So you can't come in here and win this argument of the GOAT by just being a physical specimen and we saying we ain't never seen nothing like it. And then you play for as long as possible to try to get every record known to man in basketball and think that's going to make you a better player than Michael Jordan or Kobe. It doesn't. Like, the ship has sailed on you being a GOAT because we've seen the best of you. We're seeing the best version of LeBron and the best version of Kobe and the best version of Michael Jordan, and Mike and Kobe are both better than LeBron. You can't come in and win this argument with 260, big, fast, and strong, and triple double, and and records, all-time records. I played 1,000 years. You can't win it like that, right? So the freedom of movement he talking about, he made the argument for Michael Jordan. You go talk about the hand check and say, oh, they had to change the rules because a big guy like me can just stop you from moving. So you vouching for the 90s hand check as being something that will prevent you from scoring easy, and then saying now we got freedom of movement is easy, and we got 6'8", 260 LeBron James moving as fast as Rondo in the freedom of movement era where there's no big man in the paint and everybody standing at the three-point line, and he's not averaging 37 like Mike did in the hand check area. Come on, David West. You're describing the easiest era of being able to score, and LeBron is in the easiest era to score, and Mike was in the hardest era to score, and Mike averaged more points than LeBron. Come on, David West, seriously, come on, bro. Rodman, well, what Rodman gonna do with Blake Griffin and Zebo? Do you know Dennis Rodman guarded Shaq at 325 pounds with no doubles, and they swept Orlando and went on to do their three-peat? Like, he guarded Shaq at 335, and he was 210, like you said. And you saying he gonna have an issue with Blake Griffin and Zebo? And how does bringing up Zebo and Blake Griffin's size helps LeBron in the GOAT debate? Well, but Dennis Rodman, you say you don't think Dennis Rodman can guard Blake Griffin when he guarded Karl Malone, a greater power forward than Blake Griffin with real post play and a jump shot? Blake Griffin's nowhere near Karl Malone, and Karl Malone was 260, 270. Dennis Rodman didn't have no issues with him guarding him without a double team. He guarded Barkley. He guarded centers, power forwards, small forwards, shooting guards. You really didn't just say Dennis Rodman gonna have a problem with Zebo and Blake Griffin, did you? That's ridiculous. Too fast and too strong. That's ridiculous. Sports medicine, ridiculous. You played at 273, David West. I looked up and down. You was 250 most of your career, but I do know when you was in New Orleans, you won. You went to the All-Star game twice. You wasn't 270 then. So if you was 270, you wasn't playing your best basketball. You probably was hurt that season and gained weight. You didn't want to be at 270. You wanted to be at 250, which is where Anthony Mason was at 250. Like, we had people that was 250. Like, we had power forwards and small forwards at 250. You just act like 250 size forwards just started being made in 2010. No, Karl Malone was 260. Anthony Mason was 250. Charles Oakley, I'm sure, was about 250. It's just that these guys were so much in shape. Like David Robinson. David Robinson played at 235 most of his career. And the other guy that was on the podcast said we ain't never seen no 7-footers bring the ball up court. Yeah, we did. The only thing about 7-footers bringing the ball up court is coaches didn't allow it. It wasn't that they didn't have the ability to do it. Coaches just wasn't dumb enough to say, I got a 6'1" point guard that's on the floor, but I'm gonna let my 7-footer bring the ball up court. What is my 6'1" point guard gonna do then? Right? You can't have a guy that specializes in playing the point guard and then let your 7-footer bring the ball up. I always used to hate to see the smaller guy running the lanes, ready to be a finisher on a fast break, and you had this big guy in the middle of the court dribbling the ball. If they stop and step up and stop him and make him give the ball up, the 7-footer got to get the ball up to a 6'1" guy, and the 6'1" guy got to try to finish at the rim, which is harder. It's better if the 6'1" guy is bringing the ball up and they had to step up and stop him, and he gives it up to a 7-footer and he go finish. Like, people are playing basketball backwards now. Let me show you David Robinson. And people think Giannis was all this and that. David Robinson was Giannis before Giannis. David Robinson, look at him on the outside. A little crossover, get to the hole, finish with the left hand. Like, David Robinson, people just think he just posted up all the time. If David Robinson wanted to play on the perimeter, which is what Giannis is doing at 7 foot, like, they're the same size. You know, they both got that crazy build. You know, like they stay in the gym. But look at him run like a deer. He's faster than Giannis. Like, David Robinson is faster than Giannis. Handles the ball and finishes just like Giannis at the rim on the break. And the crazy thing about it is he was a 75% free throw shooter, not like Giannis and LeBron shooting 69. So you got a 7'1" center that runs the floor just as fast and good as you and finish just as good as you if you're Giannis and LeBron. But he also shoots better. He got a better shooting touch than Giannis. Giannis still can't shoot the ball. David Robinson even got a better shooting touch than Giannis. All right, so we've seen big 7-footers running the floor like that. We've seen the Draymond Greens because we've seen Anthony Mason. We've seen guys be point forwards and all this stuff. This stuff ain't nothing new. The game changed because they stopped posting up and they took posts out of the game. They took the mid-range out of the game, and they started allowing people. Look at the jump shot, so smooth. They started allowing people who had perimeter skills to use them regardless of what your size was. You come in 7 foot with being able to shoot and score, you still going in the post. And no matter who you was, you got to play in the paint. That's how basketball was played back then. But there were a lot of people with way more abilities than what y'all giving them credit for. Y'all just didn't watch enough basketball to know that they was getting down like that in the 90s. So I'm sorry, man. Like I can't get with, oh man, he's the GOAT because he's big, strong, and fast. And he didn't give no basketball, like, this is what he does better than Jordan. He didn't do none of that. And then he got to the end, and what he said about Jordan, he was in awe of him. The truth came out in the way he said what he said about Jordan, about what he really thought. You know, and I ended with this, man. What I think is going on with this new era is, you know, they don't like the fact that everyone is still in love with the 90s, early 2000s era, and they like, look, man, show us some love too. So they're trying to cut ties with the old school and trying to go with the new. Like, look, we got to move with the new guy, LeBron, and all this stuff. They even cutting ties with Kobe. We just got to cut ties and move because, you know, basketball should evolve and grow. You know, that's how they thinking about it, and that's their motivation. Even Garnett changed his tune and was like, look, man, we got to give up on the old guys, man. We missing greatness right now. Now, we're not missing it. I'm watching it. I just know the golden era of basketball was 90s, early 2000s, and from there everything is on the decline. You know, so you can't have a tougher basketball league and not have better players. Like the pressure and the making it hard is what made the players better, right? And what the NBA has done recently with changing the rules and making defense easier and making points easier to get is you don't have to refine and work on your game as much as Michael Jordan and Kobe did to put up 30 a game or 35 a game. And that's evident with Giannis being able to get 30 whenever he wanted to, and he can't even shoot. He don't even have to stop traveling. He don't have to be able to hit consistent jump shots or free throws. He don't have to have a post move to his name. He can get 30 and get 2 MVPs by just running full speed like Usain Bolt on the court and jumping like a crash dummy at the rim and throwing the ball in there. Because that's what happens is the defense is there when he get there and he do his Euro step. If the Euro step don't lose you, now it's a crash dummy. I'm throwing the ball in the air and they go put me on the line because I'm Giannis. You don't even have to refine your game in this era, right? So that don't make a better player. Like what was going on with Jordan, Kobe's era, they needed the jump shots. They needed it. You're not always gonna be able to get to the rim, and then when you get down there, they go punish you, or it's gonna be a 7-footer down there. Now the 7-footer's at the 3-point line. Just imagine if Michael Jordan didn't have no 7-footer in the paint, and he could just get to. I mean, he was already out quicking people with just his footwork. It's ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous. Is that it? Is that all I wanted to say? Is that all I wanted to say about that? Yeah, I think so. I think that's it. That's all I want to say about David West, man. But yeah, he tried it. He tried it. LeBron's the GOAT because he's bigger, stronger, and faster. He's too big and strong for anybody in any era. But I mean, if that was the case, it wouldn't have been Kobe getting 81 points. It would have been LeBron. Like I don't understand how if you too big and strong for any era, how did Kobe the one end up with 81 points, and not you? And how is it that you ended up averaging 17 in the finals if you just too big and strong for everybody? Who stopped LeBron James in that Mavs series, man? Was it JJ Barea and Jason Kidd? That's interesting. He's too big and strong for his era. But Paul George was guarding without a double. Kawhi was guarding without a double. J. Kidd was guarding without a double. And we definitely seen. Did y'all see the footage of Kobe in the All-Star game guarding LeBron? Embarrassing. I wish Michael Jordan would not be able to go. Like that's what's so good about the Jordan thing is Kobe is a step below Michael Jordan, and we seen Kobe destroy an era and be the best. So when everybody started saying Michael Jordan couldn't do this in this era, or Michael Jordan couldn't guard LeBron, all you got to do is say, well, hold on, how did Kobe do against LeBron when he guarded him? Could he guard him? And could LeBron guard him back? When we start seeing Kobe locking this dude up, and when you start seeing this dude go to the Olympics and getting bronze, and Kobe had to come over and save him twice, come on, man. What are we talking about? Man? Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments.